So that spring right there, that little hose is connected. It runs all the way across like the side of our property and then across the street and then up into that mountain behind there. You can kind of see behind our neighbor's house. There's a rock where all this spring water comes from, and you can see it's filling up our pond here. And we have drip lines like this installed all around the property. They were actually done before we even got here, and they're feeding all of our trees. What's up, everybody? Derrick here. I'm in Mexico, of course. I'm on the land for the Conscious Agora Ecovillage. This is the community that I have helped start. Nobody's living on the land yet, but we are here visiting and picking a bunch of avocados. I am just going to give you a little update. This is actually the purpose of this video. Try not to trip on vines. Is a 5-year progress report for the Conscious Agora. For those who remember, I moved to Mexico with my partner Miriam. We first came to Mexico in March 2020, beginning of COVID. Then that summer we decided we were going to move back here. We are outside of the city of Morelia right now in the mountains. And then in November 2020, 5 years ago exactly, we started having bi-weekly calls with people from all around the world. First I announced, hey guys, I'm putting together a community. If you're interested, let me know. And we got like 500 responses from people around the world. We put together a little Q&A, questionnaire, and we sent that out. We got like 200, 300 responses, and we narrowed that down to 50 people. And with those 50 people, we started having meetings every other week. First, just virtual meetings, and then over time, getting to know each other in person. And so from November 2020 till I think we put the deposit on the property down April, May 2023. From that time, it naturally went from 50 people to 40 people to 30 people to 20, eventually to the founding family, which was just 3 households, myself and Miriam, and then 2 of our other community members. And we decided, let's pause it. Let's not add anybody else yet. Let's focus on getting the land and putting all of our money together. We did a little bit of crowdfunding, and we got a small loan from a friend. We didn't have to take any money out from the bank. And then after that, we started focusing last summer on developing our process, where how do we bring in new people, how do people leave, our entry and exit process. We started working on our conflict resolution process with nonviolent communication, our decision-making process with sociocracy, and we put together all this documentation. And we did so by visiting other communities, by learning from the book, Creating a Life Together. Look how peaceful the pond looks right now. Last time I was here, it was not this filled up, so it looks pretty awesome. And so we just started putting together our processes as we paid off the land. And then last summer we opened the doors up and we started vetting incoming members, what we call activators. And we started out, I think, with like 10 households, some couples, some individuals, and then that number has shrank down, and now, let me see, I think 4 of those households have joined. 3 of them have joined. 3 of them have decided it wasn't for them, and we're still vetting 3 more. So at the moment, there are 6 households that are a part of the community who have paid, have bought in, and are now part of the decision-making body, which we call the integrators. So we have activators, which are incoming potential members, and we have integrators, which are our people who are actually part of the community and decision makers. And so now we're vetting the last couple people. Our goal is to have 8 to 10 households here. Who knows, maybe more in the future. The land is 23 acres. As you can kind of see around me, it's lots of pine forest back there. There's we got a couple of barns, and I've actually never really shown you guys this, so that's another thing. Besides this being a 5-year progress report, just wanted to kind of show you guys a little bit of what's going on. So this is our tool shed, which was repaired a while back, and obviously it keeps tools. This is a little compost toilet, the one on the left. The other one on the right has been there since before we were there and not used. And then there's these 2 barns you can kind of see here. One over here and one over there that are old and crusty, but they have cement foundation. So those are going to be the first structures. We're going to actually keep the foundation and start repairing those hopefully this December and January before the people's reset. and then our whole community is going to become visiting, and we're going to use those as the beginning of our kind of holistic education center, because we plan to build a holistic education center where we teach people about permaculture and freedom cells and organizing and decentralized tech and all the things that I promote through my work and that we promote through the People's Reset. So those structures are there. As you can see, they're pretty dilapidated, but we're going to start fixing them up the next couple months. And then we got that barn. And then this whole area, so like in between those two barns, there's a road. We'll walk over there in a second. And then in between the space of the compost toilet. So all this is flat and open. This is where we plan to put homes. At least a few of the homes kind of spread throughout here. And this wraps around to the other side of the pond. Keeps going that way. The pond is just up there, as I was just standing there. And so we're going to put a lot of, put some of our homes here. And I'm just going to give you guys a little walk and talk. We're actually here right now harvesting avocados and working with an engineer on developing a topographical map so we can continue to design our master plan, because our goal is to start building this coming year. But as you can see, there's all of this cleared open land, and if you can see the street over there where there's a pole, a line, you can kind of see that line. That's the street. That's kind of the border of our property. So all of this, let me go back as far as I can. All this is going to be homes, and we're going to have trails kind of winding through. Seeing going this way, there's the tool shed again, there's the compost toilet, and then there's the two barns, the little path in between. Now, I can keep walking down this way, and this takes us to another flat area where we're going to have more homes. And I kind of like this spot. And you can see there's another old structure, barn. It has like an oven in it, like a cob oven kind of thing in there. So that might be useful for something. We might tear it down, but we're trying to reuse as much as we can, especially when there's concrete foundation already. There's no reason just to tear that concrete up. We might as well make use of it. It's already there. So what we imagine is a path that goes from up there where I was just at, the other flat, and it keeps coming down. And right there you can kind of see there's some, you probably can't see it that well, but there's like the water flows right there and it comes out during rainy season. The rain stopped about 3 weeks ago, so we're in dry season now. And so yeah, here's another path. You can see this is another big open flat area. I kind of like this for mine and Miriam's home. Maybe not this whole space, but half of it or something. And then there's that old barn that needs to be fixed up. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but this is kind of normal out here in this part of Mexico, at least. People come to the pine trees, they scrape them, and then they put these, they fill up the sap in these little cups. And from what I've been told, it's used for medicine. Also, of course, during COVID, a lot of you guys know about like the pine needle treatments. So there's that going on. And so sometimes you see our neighbors or other people have come and done that to the trees. So yeah, it's 5 years now. We've been working on building a community for 5 years. We try not to eat shit for 5 years. And in that 5 years, guys, people don't understand the work that goes into a community. I know there's all kinds of ways to approach this. We did it our own way. Everybody's going to have their own path, but Miriam and I, we're not wealthy, so we don't have trust funds. We don't have, billionaires backing us or anything like that. So we had to be very careful. I've got some savings that I've amassed over the years, but nothing massive and huge that's going to take care of us for the rest of our lives. So we have to be careful. Here, I'll let you guys see the view actually instead of staring at me. We have to be careful with our money and how we use it. Now here you can see there's some bee boxes. I'm going to kind of walk right in the middle of this. These were here before us, but we want to keep them. If you can see on screen, the bees are very active. You can kind of hear them if you listen. So there's bees doing their thing there. We won't disturb them. And so yeah, we got to be careful with our money. So whenever we started looking for property in Mexico, and we ended up over here in Michoacan. we looked all over the place, but we ended up realizing that we like this area because Michoacan is known for farms, obviously avocados. We just finished, if I look a little haggard and sound tired, oh, look at this. It's because I just spent the last hour or more picking avocados, climbing trees, and harvesting them. We're about to take home a whole bunch. And so we realized, wow, there's an abundance of farms out here. There's water, there's, what is it called? Hot springs, cold springs, rivers, and this property particularly, this property already has a bunch of avocados, bananas, limes, pears, pomegranates, and it was already here, already being taken care of, and already had drip lines installed to feed the trees. So that's a lot of work already done. And we figured, you know what, because we were looking all over the country and we're like, we could keep looking. We were still looking in the US even, but why not just focus on this beautiful property? Wow, I just kind of walked into the forest a little bit, which is a little overgrown right now. Why not just focus on this property and make this one happen, where we have water, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to reach it for this video, but our west and southern border is a nice sized stream, fresh clean water coming out of the mountain. That's our border, and it's enough that you can swim in on some points. It's deep enough, so that's another blessing. And there's also 2 ojos de agua, fresh springs, where there's literally just water coming out of the ground. And so here's another viewpoint. So I just kind of walked up. We have this really rocky path right here, which we're gonna have to bring in some machines to smooth out, but that's one way down, and I just walked through all this kind of foresty stuff. So from the top where the pond was, where I was first showing you, then you go to the second level where's all the flat stuff with the barn and the tool shed, then you go down to another flat area, and then you get to the bee boxes, and if you keep following down, you get to where I'm at now. And that's just the top of the property. And then here's another view. I wanted to go see if some of these Nispero, the loquat, are ready to pick, so I can at least show you guys some of our fruits. And so you can see we got banana trees kind of far in the distance there in the shade, but the land keeps going that way. The land goes that way, and it wraps around that hill down to the water, and then it goes also over this way. I mean, it's pretty massive, and it's all like sloping down. So the lowest point, when you enter the land, you're at the highest point, and when you're walking down, obviously you're coming down, and the water's at the lowest point, the stream. These massive agaves here. So this is what I mean, like, you could keep walking that way. There's all kinds of stuff going on there. All the fruit orchards are basically on the hills, on the slopes right here. Miriam actually wants to put like we're thinking of putting a temazcal or a sort of yoga shala right here, overlooking these hills. So it'd be like right here. And then you see the path goes up there. And look, if I'm quiet, maybe you can hear the water. Magical stuff. So these right here, that's avocados. That's a tree, it's got avocados all over it. These are all avocados. So every one of, like, as you go to the property, you've got these slopes that are just filled with avocados and different trees. These are all fruit trees. Every one of those fruit trees, and if you just keep going, I'm not gonna be able to show you guys the entire property, but like I said, this is the 5-year progress report. A lot of people are curious and they ask questions about our community and what's going on. And first question is, no, we are not currently accepting any new applications. Like I said, we're kind of with our current group. Once we get through that, if we need more members, then we will announce it. You guys will be the first to know. You'll hear me announce it. So now we're kind of coming down to another area. This tree over here on the left, the big one, is a pomegranate, granada, which is not in season yet. But let's just go check over here. So we're not looking for any current members right now. We're not open to visitors. We were hoping to maybe have an event after the People's Reset this January, but I don't think it's gonna happen. It still seems too early. We got a lot to do. But the plan is to host retreats and events and meetups here. So here, I can actually show you some of the water. This is like an old big trench somebody dug. They used to apparently keep fish in here or something. Here too. So there's a lot of, it's like a big hole. Here you can see some of the water. So this is the entire border of our property. It just follows around there, and then it just keeps going all the way, you know, wrapping. So that's what I mean when I say the western, which this is the western border here. Like if we were to go over there and up the hill, we hit the street again where I was at the beginning. That's the top of the property. So this is our western border here. And it's this stream, this nice, fresh mountain stream. And then that continues to wrap around to the south. So let me go ahead, let's check out the Nispero. See if there's any I can get. The donkey may have got them. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get any of them. I see them way up there. And like I said, we came here to pick avocados, so we're just about done with our trip, and I decided to do this video. So I can't be too long because I think they're gonna be waiting for me at the car. But look, there they are. I think they've been getting ate by the birds and the donkey, the low ones. Let me see if I can get any of them down here. Come on down, guys. I don't see any coming down for me here. I don't want to hurt the tree. Hello, beautiful tree. Thank you for all your fruit. Let's try one out. Let's go ahead and give it a shot. Holy shit, that is really good. Wow. It's like syrupy. Let me see if I can get some more over here. I can't come all this way and not bring some back for the group. So I'm gonna fill my pockets and take some back. Oh, popped them off. So yeah, this is just one of the fruits, and we have a couple of nisperos. Again, this was all here, guys. I mean, we've only planted, I think we've added a mango tree, which unfortunately I don't think it made it, and a few other things. So this was all done before here. So again, that was like a huge selling point. It's like we found the property, and it's like drip lines installed over the entire property. Fruit trees already planted. It's fresh springs with water coming out of the ground. It's hard to pass that up. And again, I'm not wealthy, so I didn't buy this property on my own. We had to find a group of like-minded people. That took time. So there's been times where people have like, oh, Derrick's community is just, they're lying, or they're not actually building a community. It's been 5 years. And look, you can rush if you like, and I've seen people rush. And you know what? Most of those people who rushed, their communities are no longer existing because they met somebody and they're like, hey, you like freedom? I like freedom. Whoa, let's move in together. Let's buy land together. And then they realize, oh wait, we actually don't have the same values. Maybe we should, whoa, sunk in there. Maybe we should have spent some more time figuring that out. So we spent a lot of time working on our values, our principles. What are we actually trying to build here? You know, we're essentially a multi-generational community of voluntarist anarchists is really what it comes down to. You know, we want to be left alone. We want to create our own path, and we have people in their, I'm 40, so we got Miriam in her early 30s. Oh yeah, this is the one right here. And then we got people in their, all the way to their 70s. Okay, I got him. And, no. Trying not to squish these in my pocket. And then everything in between. So 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. And We're focused on individual liberty, which is often different than a lot of intentional communities, which tend to be more collectivist minded. We're focused on permaculture and the way we grow our food and the way we build our homes and the way we relate to the planet, the earth, this land that we are the stewards of. And we are also focused on mindfulness, which just means that we're trying to have a community of open-minded people who are continuing to grow and not static people, right? So that's what we're focused on, and that might not sound too difficult. Like, oh, I know a lot of people who would fit that. Maybe you think you'd fit that. But let me switch hands. Do you have the patience it takes to meet every week, to get to know other people? Because I mean, at this point, we've had thousands of hours put into this community. I would say just me and Miriam alone, not even counting the other community members and what they've done. But we started, as I said earlier, with bi-weekly meetings, and then we eventually those turned into weekly meetings. So every Sunday we have a meeting. It could be an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, and we spend that time doing our NVC, getting to know each other, doing different group exercises, just being there for each other. We had a lot of hard discussions about diet, about animals, about pets, kids, all this sort of stuff. People think it's just like, oh, find land, buy land, find like-minded people, move on to land, and everything works out magically. Maybe that works for some people, but as I said, I don't have money to just screw this one up and do it over again. So I've been taking my time. We've been taking our time. So it's been 5 years now since we had the very first call from people all around the world with no idea where we were going to go, what land we would get, and who was going to be involved. And here we are 5 years later, and we have the land. The land is paid off. We're here visiting with friends, picking avocados, baking níspero with bee boxes, and we paid it off. We own it. We didn't have to use a bank. Oh, I walked right into some. Probably not the right path. Spiky. We didn't have to use a bank. We did have a friend with a small private loan, and we're paying him back. And the rest, we used money from new members to pay for it, and our own personal money. And now we're building our membership, and we have a small community growing. By the end of this year, early next year, I imagine those 2 barns will be repaired. Our membership will be complete, about 9 to 10 households. People will start building in 2026, and maybe by early 2027 or even late in 2026, we could start hosting people. So I'd love to hear your comments. If you're interested in visiting and learning more about the community, which, by the way, I mean, come on. Beautiful. This is the path I didn't walk down earlier. I came from up there, but this is another path to get to some of the other areas, and we're kind of coming up the backside. If you would be interested in attending a retreat or workshop here, even primitive, glamping, like maybe not even glamping, maybe we just have basic tents and blankets and cots, because eventually the plan is to have, I love this forest. Eventually the plan is to have housing inside our community center so that we can have guests who want to do that, but then we'll also still offer camping for those who are on a budget. And now I'm kind of walking back up. This is everything I was showing you before. That's the tool shed, compost toilet, and then these are the barns I was describing. I'm going to wrap up in just a second. I want to show you guys the avocados. And of course, give a shout out to everybody who donated to the People's Reset over the years. I'm just going to give you guys a quick look of these are the avocados we harvested today. Look at that. And then got a whole nother bag there, bags there. Yeah, quite a bit. So that is the bulk of the property of the Conscious Agora. Obviously I didn't walk all 23 acres. This is our front gate right here. So, and this is another fruit orchard right here. But you kind of see what I'm saying. You come in this main road, the pond is right up there, there's one of the barns, there's the other barn, and that's the tool shed back there, and this is the flat road where we're going to put the homes and stuff, at least some of them. And yeah, again, thank you to everybody who has donated. We did a crowdfunding campaign a few years ago. We couldn't have done it without you guys. We also have some obligations, like people who donated a certain amount, we said we would plant trees in your name and put your name on bricks on our pathways. That is still to come. We haven't built those yet, so stay tuned if you did donate. And there's Donkey. That's my buddy. He's actually our neighbor's donkey, but I've become friends with him. And so on this part of the mountain, there's our property. The next door we have our neighbors. That's their home right there. And then across the way, there's a little school right there, that little white building. You can kind of see right there. And then, yeah, and then there's another neighbors back there. But so we're pretty isolated. There's only like a couple of families in this part of the mountain here. Other than that, it's just us. So, yeah, this is what we're building, my friends. Let me go show you another view real quick. So you can see the mountains in the distance before we say goodnight. You see that? The sun's shining bright. I love it out here, guys. It is heaven for me. I just got to climb trees and pick avocados and pick these fruit, and yeah, this is where my future is going to be. I'm going to keep doing journalism. I'm going to keep sharing the information that I think is important, but increasingly my life is going to go towards this direction where I'm just going to focus on building this land and building our home and having a place as the world gets crazier. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know I was all over the place, but this is supposed to be a 5-year progress report about what we've done over the last 5 years and what we're working on. And I hope it's given you some idea, some vision. So thanks for supporting us, for supporting me. Until next time, remember, you are powerful, you are beautiful, you are free.